Okay, and with that, hopefully we are live, and I'm sorry for the slight delay. If you know me, doing things on time has never really been my strongest suit. So I'm gonna look at this chat window if anyone wants to show up, but otherwise, let's go ahead and start jumping in to reviewing some code. Before I actually review any code, I'm going to make sure that I've got some coffee handy because this can take a little while. And I find that having something to drink gives me an ability to take a pause when I need to think about something. And I'm going to go over and jump into the Spark PR review dashboard where we can see what the different outstanding Spark PRs are. Today we're going to use just the PRs from the people who have explicitly opted into me doing a live stream of review, and if this is something that you'd be okay with happening, please feel free to reach out to me and let me know that you wouldn't mind your code being reviewed live. But as you can see here, we have a lot of outstanding pull requests in the Spark project. There's 454 open, 293 stale, and quite a lot in there. So I mostly focus on machine learning and Python in the Spark project, and today I'm expecting to see something interesting in Python, so we're going to go over and jump in here. And this dashboard is obviously a little different than the normal GitHub PR dashboard. We can look at that too. If we were to go into that's the Beam project, let's go over and look at the Spark pull request dashboard here. It's a little more difficult to find what I'm looking for in here. I of course can search based on the title or other things, but here this is actually being populated based on the files that it's touching. And so this is useful. Brian Cutler is an old coworker of mine and a recently added Spark committer, so he's said he's okay with me reviewing some of his PRs live. So let's jump into this because it happens to be the top one, and we can see that it both merges and passes the tests on Jenkins. So let's go over here and take a look. Okay, cool. So the first thing that we start by doing is just reading the conversation, and also looking at the participants. We can see here it's just Brian, the Spark build bot, and myself, so we don't have to worry about anyone else having taken a look just yet. But it's good. So let's see what it is that Brian wants to do. He wants to add a class method to construct a count vectorized model from a list of vocabulary strings equivalent to the Scala version. Okay, so this is good. This tells us that very clearly what it is that he's doing, and since this is in Python, it's pretty common that what we're essentially doing is playing catch up to Scala. And since he explicitly calls it out that this is equivalent to the Scala version, it means that I can go and jump over into the Scala code and sort of see if it's actually matching, and I won't have to do quite as thorough a review since we've already decided more or less that this is the API that we want. That's a pretty good start. And so, great, he added tests. I love it when I see this. I don't like it as much when I see things like manual testing here. I understand it, but it's good. One thing to point out is that this pull request originally started back in February of 2017, and it's been a really long time until we actually got around to reviewing this. And a big part of that's my fault. Brian tagged me in this pull request back in February of 2017, but in fairness, he hasn't really had a chance to keep it up to date too much, and it's only recently that he's had a chance to update it. And it now passes again. So that's cool. Let's go ahead and jump into the code. I think that'll be useful.
Good morning.
And one thing to note is I normally work out of the Google offices, but since it's Friday today, I really don't feel like trying to find a meeting room. would be a great success. And I'm going to keep the chat window open, of course, on another machine. If anyone has comments for me, I'll see those there. But I am just working out of my home, and so I have all of my stuffed animals with me to help out with the review. This is Buddy, and she likes Python code as well. So, I mean, we're expecting to see a change in the params, so that looks reasonable. The imports are to some degree automatically checked, but the auto checker is not always perfect, so it doesn't hurt to look. I am a little curious why he's having to import the Spark context here, so I'll keep an eye out for that later. Actually, let's go ahead and search for that now. Okay, yeah, so that shouldn't actually require the Spark context import. Oh wait, no, he's getting it from the active Spark context. Okay, I mean that's legit. The other way to get it is, I'm imagining that the session is already imported. It might not be, actually. That is surprising. Okay, so that import looks reasonable. Yeah, and this is just a little hack that allows us to get the running Spark context when it's not explicitly passed in to the parameters. It's not really a great habit to have global state like this hanging around in other projects, but in Spark we've more or less given up on the idea of having two Spark contexts running at the same time. Same thing for Spark session, and we try and limit the amount of global state that leaks through our software like this, but for better or worse we are well past that state. So let's go back up to the top. Parameter import changes. Let's just look like see added the Java params. That makes sense. Okay, let's take a look at what the new count-vectorized params docs are. So since I'm told this is based off of some Scala code, I'm actually going to go ahead, open up Emacs, and go and try and find the equivalent Scala code and just take a look at that. So it's going to be the count vectorizer, most likely. And we can see here there's an equivalent count vectorized params, and we can see what the parameters are. So we've got vocab size, min_df, max_df, and that's min_tf. Okay, and binary. So I'm going to double check that these default values are the same later on. But yeah, let's go through and read this. Filter to ignore raw words in a document. Yeah. Okay. So that's good. Binary parameter looks fine. So we have set default here being called min_tf, min_df, vocab size, and binary. So vocab size matches, binary matches, min_tf matches, min_df matches. We may actually have automatic tests that make sure this match. I know Brian was actually working on that at one point for the default parameters, but I don't actually know what the state of the tests are, and it's, you know, just doesn't take that long to manually verify it anyway, since I'm in the PR. This is, yeah. So these getters are pretty much just to remind us of the 90s. The since annotation of 1.6 here is a little suspicious, since we're obviously in the Spark 2.3 release, but my guess is that min_tf has actually just been moved, and that we've just got this common shared parameters class. So the since annotation is probably fine. Get binary, but let's double check that. Min_tf param. Okay, I'm not super sure on those annotations for the versions. That's a little frustrating. Okay, we're gonna want to come back to those version annotations and double check that they're. Oh, here we go. Okay. We've got the getMinDF here. So I'm wondering why setMinDF hasn't moved along with the getters. Let's go and look. Yeah, so we see the getters, but we don't see the setters. That's interesting. Is that a pattern that we normally do? It's been a while since I've had to look at this. Let's go and take a look at, let's go look in classification. Yeah, that's weird. So in the tree, we definitely have the getters and the setters together, so oh, I know. Okay, yeah, right. So that makes sense, because setting MinTF on the trained model would really not make sense in this case. But over here, actually that probably doesn't make any sense anyways. Okay, regardless, that's probably fine. We probably only need the setters inside of our count vectorizer. We don't need it inside of the count vectorizer model. And it's the count vectorizer params are shared between the count vectorizer and the count vectorizer model. I like that he's extended the doc tests here. Definitely we don't want everything to go in the doc tests. Not all of your tests should go here. But this is really good, and it shows how to use count vectorizer. Although, interestingly enough, what was this PR supposed to be adding? From a vocabulary list. This isn't actually... No, it is. Okay, from vocabulary. That's an interesting... From vocabulary. Okay, well, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that in a little bit. Set defaults moved. I guess that's fine. The getters, we've seen them all move up above. Doc annotation, count vectorizer model. Okay, so this is the new class method that we're expecting. And it constructs a model directly from the vocabulary list. A string requires an active Spark context. That's interesting. Calling new Java right here. Okay. Yeah. I wanna go and find the matching function, which this is supposed to be matching to. It's possible that my Spark repo is a little out of date, so we're gonna go ahead and go back and check out the master branch. Actually, git diff. Okay. Just pull down master to make sure that we have the latest code. And I'm gonna, there we go. Go ahead, reload the count vectorizer. For now, we can just switch it down to one screen. We don't need both of those. Vocabulary size. Yeah. Okay. So in Scala, this would probably be on an object. So object count vectorizer. No, has a load. Okay, object count vectorizer model. seeing that function here either. Okay, so I guess that doesn't. I wish. Let's go and see if the JIRA says. So we can go ahead and take this. This is the JIRA number associated with the pull request, and sometimes there's a little more information in the JIRA. So we're going to go and see if it, yeah. So this is a little weird, or I mean, I guess it's not weird, it's just frustrating. So in the code, in the pull request here, it looks like we are adding a new method to construct from vocabulary. And in the Scala side, we could just use the apply or the regular constructor. Which, I'm curious why we couldn't use the regular constructor. Let's go take a look at the regular constructor. What file are we in? So we are in feature.py. Lovely. That's why. Okay. So if we look here, we can see that this has the Java model as the base. So it's actually, most of our ML models in PySpark really don't do anything except contain a reference to the Java model. And because the default constructor for Java model takes a Java object, we could, of course, override the init function to do, like, essentially check the types of what's passed in, but I get using the different method name. Okay, that's a reasonable design decision. That's fine. Let's go back down to that part of the code. Also, thanks, Brian, for letting me do this. Let's see here. So the new Java array, I mean, yeah, this is just because we're using Py4j to pass things across, so we need to take our Scala thing and turn it into a Java array. I want to think that there's better or shorter syntax for this, but I'm gonna come back to this. I'll just actually leave myself a note here. And I really like that I can just do start review rather than leaving a comment immediately, because I want to revisit this later, but I want to keep going and do a full first pass. So this all looks fine. Underscore set, let's double check that. Double check here. I'm just going to leave myself some notes about places that I want to return to. Set min_tf and set binary. So if set min_tf and set binary are on both the model and oh, this is because okay. I want to go and look at what we have over here in our Scala code. Set min_tf. So this, So for one of the setters in both the model and the estimator, maybe I should consider putting it in the shared params class. Cool. Okay, so let's get to the tests. I mean, that's better than nothing, but I also... Okay. Well, let's see if there's more tests. There are not. Okay. Good first test. I'd love to also see it with empty vocab, and also one that uses the default values. So essentially just Py4j sometimes behaves in slightly unexpected ways when you give it empty inputs. And I mean, all software does that, but Py4j especially, like it's a known thing where if you give it an empty array, it can behave a little weirdly. So it would be good to have an explicit test with an empty array here. I mean, the input data set looks pretty fine. That actually looks pretty reasonable. Okay, why did this change? Okay. Okay, I want to actually go and look at this test because I don't know why we would be changing the default value tests. Okay. So I just want to make sure that I've understood what's happening here. We're avoiding doing the default params test on non-concrete classes like the shared param, like the base params shared between the model and the estimator. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure that we are on the same page here. I can go back and look in the commit logs to see as well. Okay, let's go back to some of the places where I left myself notes. Yeah, this one's good, but it also still doesn't have anything. I think this might be better with an array rather than model.vocabulary. Show folks how to expect to use it. What are your thoughts? Let's actually with explicit manual array. So because we wouldn't really expect people to use count vectorized model from vocabulary to copy another count vectorizer, and that's what the doc test is doing here. Like, this would be fine to put in a regular tests file, but I think for a doc test, we really want to show people how we would expect them to use it. So let's do that. And keep going. My wife also just messaged me that she wants to move our car insurance to Geico, so I think we want to save 15% or more on our car insurance. Unless I got their names mixed up, but that's good. I should really turn off notifications next time I do this. Looks pretty solid. Like it pretty much overall. Okay, right, we'll visit here. JVocab. I am going to see this and see how this works. Count vectorized model, new Java array. Okay, I don't remember this code. I really should, but it's been a while. And I'm pretty sure we put it inside of something called like common. Doesn't look like it. Okay, let's go. So I am a little bit old school, and for better or worse, I still just use grep. Ooh, changed on disk. Oh, okay, that's just groups. Oh god, that's okay. Never mind. Don't worry about the rabbit hole I just went down without thinking. That is a rather unfortunate side effect of having to be pip installable and just. I don't remember why I had to do that, but that part of the code is just sad, and we should never look there until I can figure out a way to retire it. So we're looking for people who are using new Java array. So let's just go and see this. Not a lot of people. Interesting. Okay, looks like it's inside of wrapper.py, but I'm going to see if we've used it more in the past and maybe stopped using it. No, we haven't replaced it anywhere per se. Okay, looks like we just don't often have to create raw arrays of this type. Let's go double check wrapper. Yeah, so here we start to get into the weeds of sort of the Py4J bindings. That's more or less what we would expect to see. Yeah, okay, I mean, it looks like that's how we do that, and we don't have a better way yet. I was just misremembering, so that's great. We're going to go ahead, get rid of that note. That looks fine. Oh, I did want to see the underscore set, or if we should be using the public setter here. Let's go and look at the base ones. It's actually going to probably be def underscore set. That's interesting. Yeah, we have underscore set default, underscore set. Where is it actually defined? Yeah, So the reason why I'm curious if we should be using underscore set or the public set is I remember we did some, essentially we did some wrapping inside one of them, and I want to make sure we're not missing that. To be fair though, I'm pretty sure Brian was the one who did that wrapping, so I don't think he'd call the wrong one, but then again, I know I've also called the wrong version of my own code when it passed the test and not noticed. So that's a thing. Yeah, okay. Should be in the params, I think. Def set. Maybe it's in param. Oh yeah, it's probably in param. Def underscore set. Here we go. Sets user style applied parameter. Okay, this does go through the type converter and sets it on the param map. This looks fine. Def set. So the difference is that we check that we own the parameter. And then we do the type conversion. Otherwise it's an invalid type name. Let's double check. I want to... Okay, the other one is this takes KW-args, but we're only setting one parameter here. Okay. And reason for underscore rather than set. Because this parameter should be owned. Is it? The vocab size is a parameter, right? Let's go back into feature.py. Vocab size. Yeah, it's a parameter. Oh, interesting. So if we load it from the vocabulary, we implicitly end up with a vocab size. I mean, that makes sense. A max vocab size being equal to the vocabulary that we set. It seems reasonable enough. That's fine. Oh, actually, while I'm here, input column is required, but output column has the default value. Is that... Does that make sense? Input. So we use has input column here, I believe. Has input call. That's great. We can go over here and look in our generated code. Has input call. I'm pretty sure this doesn't have a default parameter, but I just want to double check. And yeah, no, we don't have one. So that's fine, and that makes sense. Okay, so I think that's probably enough comments from this pass. Most of this looks pretty good. I just have the question about where these two setters belong. Request for an additional test, and this clarification about what's happening down here. And so that's good. We're going to go ahead and hit review changes. We're going to... Thanks, Brian, for the work on this and waiting such a very long time for review. I've got a few questions. I've got a few questions and a small change suggestion. I'd love to see. Yeah. Feel free to ping me when this PR is finished, or when this PR is ready for review again. And this is just because I like to try and see PRs through to the end, but I just don't always notice them. I don't check the Spark PR dashboard all that often, and so it's easier if people are willing to ping me. So that's pretty much it for Brian's first PR. Let's see if he has another one that I can take a look at. Brian Cutler. Okay, he has a work in progress PR. Normally we wouldn't review that since it's tagged as work in progress and it's also failing the build. But I might take a quick glance at it to see what's going on. Oh, this one's bad. That's a bug. It doesn't merge anymore though. But we might ping him to see what's going on and if we can help unblock. Oh, tickling is... Okay, well, let's go take a look at that, because we might need to redirect this pull request to a different project. That's probably good. Okay, so I think there was also a second person who indicated he was okay with me reviewing his PRs live, so I'm going to go and check my messages on my phone and see if I have his email. Looks like it was not a Twitter DM as much as I may have wished. Okay. So there was someone who has a PR into Spark Testing Base, but they said they're not ready yet. And that's reasonable. I will wait until they're ready for it to be reviewed. I'm going to go over and look into my email and see if I can find the other person who I think responded. It's possible that my memory is playing tricks on me though, and we'll just finish up with Brian's PRs and then I can go into the office and get some food. Okay, it looks like there actually are some ML PRs, and Marco has gladly offered to let us look at his PRs live, so we're going to go over and see. And actually one of the things that you can see is PRs in Spark often touch multiple components. For example, Brian's Python PR is both a Python PR and an ML lib PR. And so that's good. Let's go find Marco. Okay, it looks like... don't know what Marco's GitHub handle is. Let's go try and find that so I can search for his code. Normally I wouldn't be searching for specific authors. Instead I would look for something which was sort of in my area of expertise. But in this case I don't want to review people's code who really aren't necessarily interested into that. There are multiple Marcos. And that is great, but okay, let's see if it is MG. Great. Okay, oh, this is a backport PR. That's probably, hopefully, relatively easy to review. In that case, what we do is we just check to make sure that it's actually the same backport and that it makes sense. Sounds like it's a good, simple bug fix, so that's lovely. This is good. This one, I can see there's another Spark committer who's on it. We can see that it needs to be flagged that it's okay to run the Jenkins test, so we can go in and do that really quickly. Oh, nope, that's someone else's PR. I mean, we could do that anyways, but I will leave that to someone else. Here's another PR where there are two reviewers from Marco. It looks like it doesn't merge right now, but it passed the tests the last time it was run. Deprecating Cayman's compute costs. Okay, great. We're not going to go through all of these, but I'm going to try and do one more ML-like PR, so let's go ahead and jump in there. Add num measure to close summary. Modified existing unit tests. Okay, so this is not a great start. It's totally reasonable, but essentially one of the things that we care about in Spark is binary compatibility, and our MIMA tests are used to validate that we probably maintain binary compatibility across releases. And sometimes we definitely just have to add an exclusion. There's no way around it. But if it's for a relatively small feature, we often don't like doing that. Although this doesn't necessarily look too bad. As you can see, you know, there's often quite a lot of exclusions that end up happening. So it's certainly not the end of the world. The 2-3 exclusions, for example, go on for more than a page. But you need to be a little more careful when you're considering sort of making changes, because it could break binary compatibility. It's sort of just a flag here. So that's fine. Okay, these are, looks like the old MLlib package is piping through max iter as well. That's interesting. Oh, no. It's the summary object, and we probably wouldn't expect people to construct the summary object explicitly. But okay, yeah, and this is private anyways, so that's fine. We don't actually have to worry about that. That's all right then. Okay, cool. Let's go down a little more. Oh, I meant to put the PR that I was reviewing in a little file. I will do that for the second PR that we're going to look at. Looks like it may not update live. Whatever. We'll do that better next time. Okay. Since annotation here, that's an interesting choice. Okay. Whatever. We can come back to this once again. The constructor's private, so it's not the end of the world, but I am cautious about changing class constructors. So, I mean, this looks interesting. So, okay. So we're using. So it looks like here we're using -1 to indicate we don't have the num iter information. That's, I mean, it's not great. I don't particularly like -1 as a magic value. Okay, I mean, honestly, I'm not really sure about this PR. I don't have a lot of comments, so I'm gonna go and try and see if I can find someone who might be a better reviewer for this than myself. Looks like Eric created this issue. And okay, this issue is actually, it's got 2 pieces in it, and we would probably want to split this up into 2 separate PRs. Okay, actually it looks like the log likelihood's already there. I mean, this is good. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's go back into files changed. Actually, was I only looking at a subset of this, or was I looking at everything? Oh, it looks like everything. The summaries needing exclusions is probably not the end of the world, since they're private constructors. It's fine. Though I am confused why Mima is complaining about them. I mean, okay. Yeah. Would be nice to see a test where it's not max iter. Copied over. Actually, that's a good question. Is that what's happening in the Gaussian mixture one? Do we have... It's possible that the Gaussian mixture test already has that. Let's see, now this has max iter of 2 as well. I'm gonna... Okay, what file are we in? Bisecting k-means. Okay, I mean, that's 10% k. Huh. Num iter here is parent model.num iter. Let's go look inside of the k-means code and see where these values are coming from. So it's k-means.scala, and it's inside of clustering. I just use Magit to find the files quickly because I've worked in this code base for a while. That's the number of parameters. Num iter. Nope. That's interesting. K-means.scala, parent model.num iter. Let's go look inside of this here. Oh, okay, this is actually not num iter, it's iter. Yeah, so defaults to max iter of 100, but we could, right, so essentially what I just want to see in the tests is that iter could definitely be a value other than max iter. And I want to essentially just have a test which makes sure that in the future we don't just change this model summary accidentally to just copy over the max iter value. I actually want to see the number of iterations that were performed. And right now the tests that are here all just set max iter to 2 and then check that value. Okay, that's not the worst start. I wish I could do more with this PR. So I've just done a quick pass, and I'm going to see if Seth Hendrickson, who's one of my former coworkers now, he's at Cloudera and I'm at Google. I used to be at IBM with him together. Has some comments. Submit review. Okay, cool. It looks like we've got 7 minutes left, which is not an overabundance of time. And since it's Friday, I would like to get food before the kitchen gets all super busy. So I'm going to save the rest of these PRs probably for next week. And hopefully by then I'll also have a PR outside of the Spark project to review, and I can show you sort of the difference of review from a big project to a small project. And maybe Brian's PR will also be finished up completely, and then I can also show you merging a PR. And so I'll try and do this next Friday again at 11 a.m. Pacific time, since it gives me a nice excuse to take a lazy morning. So I hope that was useful to at least some people, and I will see you all around. Looks like there was no chat activity, but that's okay.